Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another behind the scenes photography walk video. All the photos in this video were shot on the Sony a6000. This is such a small and compact camera that's perfect for street and travel photography. If you haven't already, go check out my full review of this camera where I go into the details about the pros, cons, tech specs, and more. But as you know, specs aren't everything, so this photography walk video will show you how the a6000 performs in real life situations, as well as some low light photography to really push this camera. As usual, I'll be showing both the good and bad photos, as well as narrating about my thought process as I was taking the shot. So hopefully you can learn something from this video and see just how the a6000 performs. With that being said, let's just jump right to it. So I started my photo walk in Dumbo, Brooklyn. It was pretty quiet until I turned the corner and just saw all of these people in the middle of the street taking photos. I visit this area quite often and I don't recall ever seeing this many people. I took a quick snapshot of the crowd, mostly to just test out my settings, but the photo ended up having some pretty interesting subjects in it. Anyway, I keep walking towards the bridge. I just love the architecture and the way it looks, so I took this shot of the bridge, filling up the entire frame. It's not really anything extraordinary, but I appreciate the simple composition and subject. I walk even closer to the foot of the bridge and then capture a detailed shot. It's so cool how you can see the individual wires, beams, and even the bolts. This is the kind of image where your eyes may not even be able to see all of those details, yet a camera is able to capture it for you to admire. Now that we got a few warm-up shots, I walked toward the rocks and thought it would be cool to capture the water along with the buildings and bridge in the distance. But it ended up being one of those bad images that just looks terrible. Nothing was really working here. Maybe if the sky was nicer or if I had a longer lens, it would look better. But I brushed it off and moved on. Now I'm at this new location shooting down this row of chairs and tables with these nice warm lights strung overhead. Since there is so much going on in the frame, you can see that I use manual focus with focus peaking to easily nail focus on the bridge. I didn't want the autofocus system to only focus on the light or a table. I think this composition is great with the 1-point perspective leading your eye right into the bridge. I wanted some images with people in it, so I moved toward the water and noticed this guy sitting by himself on this beam. I just love the mood of this image. The tones are overall cold and blue, but the carousel in the back gives it that hint of life. Even in a large city like New York, you can still be alone and find solitude in a place that's surrounded with people. Following that train of thought, I spot another person sitting alone against the beautiful backdrop of buildings. I maneuver the small autofocus spot to ensure focus is on the woman and then capture this shot. Even though the overall frame and subject matter is similar to the previous shot, this one conveys a completely different mood and is largely due to the camera in her hand. Props are a powerful tool to tell a story. I also enhanced the warm tones in this photo, contrasting with the cooler ones in the previous shot. I continue with my photo walk and venture into the shopping area with some pretty interesting architecture. I spot this silhouetted person at the very top right, and as I'm taking the photo, a second person walks into frame as well, making this one of my favorite captures of the day. This entire frame is so contrasty in visual elements and color. The top half is very flat, almost two-dimensional, while the bottom is clearly 3D with depth and texture. The two halves are also split by color, with the deep blues contrasting harshly with the warm yellows. It is such an interesting image, and if I were to have come at a different time, this shot would not have been possible. Since it's getting dark now, I went back out through the crowds of people to capture the iconic shot of the Empire State Building framed beneath the arch of the bridge. I'm sure you've seen a similar photo taken a million times before, but I specifically waited where there was just enough light left where you can see the buildings and the bridge, but dark enough where the Empire State lights would come on. I'm pretty happy with the way this image turned out, although I did have to crop in quite a bit to avoid all the people. Next time I'll probably come back in the early morning just to avoid the crowds. Of course, I had to end the night with a classic cityscape shot, so I went back towards the water and captured this image. I wish I had my tripod to do a long exposure, but this will have to do. It was a great way to end the photography walk. Alright, so that concludes the photo walk video. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Does the a6000 still hold up to today's standards? This camera did come out a few years ago. I think the technology and sensor in the a6000 is more than capable of getting that shot, and it can even produce some pretty clean low light files as well. The ergonomics were also great, and I just love how compact and light it is. I can walk around and shoot with it all day without fatigue. And since it's such a small camera, people won't get intimidated when you're out on the street shooting some street photography, so you can get some really cool shots. I think the a6000 is more than capable for this kind of photography, and most importantly, it's just fun to shoot with. So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe because it would mean a lot and help out my channel. Let me know if you have any questions about this camera, and I'll try to answer them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Peace.